Hey guys, Sen here. So Graveyard and Battle Ram were nerfed pretty hard in the most recent balance patch, yet basically nothing has changed. Almost every single clan in the global top 200 is still spamming the life out of the strategy, and I would suspect that usage rates up here are at least 80% or more of just this spam wizard graveyard ram attack because it is by far the most dominant strategy out there. Supercell's on vacation till the New Year's, so expect that it'll remain overpowered at least through this upcoming raid weekend. If you're not using this attack strategy, you're placing yourself at a severe disadvantage because it has the power to even two-shot some capital peaks in certain cases, which we'll cover in this video. Alright, so up against this first capital peak, you might recognize the space. It's very similar to one of Itsu's layouts. We're going to start off with a couple of rams down south, pull some zap traps, open up the wall, and then send in a Larry Barrel in behind to assassinate those Teslas, as well as a couple of wizards protected by the Larius to go ahead and provide some additional DPS from rage. We want to clear that bottom section corner first to funnel our wizards going up the right side of the base, a couple of ramps to test for traps, and go ahead and tank for the wizards, and then wizards in behind to clear all the trash buildings, then some more rams, and finally our graveyard spells in the dead zones of rock artilleries and blasphemos on the backside to distract all those defenses. Make sure that we send in those graveyards late to make sure that all the Larias that are being generated are actually distracting the defenses for our wizards that are going inside the base. And so the Rams tank for the wizards on their approach, and then all the defenses on the backside are going to get distracted by the graveyard spells. Once your Rams die, you get tons and tons of Larrys. I'll focus on it on the next attack, but you're going to notice that I drop in my Rams more spread out and periodic. That is the biggest mistake that I see a lot of players make and why they don't see as much success with this strategy as they could. They drop in their Rams way too fast. So because this is a capital peak, I'm also going to bring in a rage spell to help DPS the capital, as well as a P.E.K.K.A to help tank some of those beams. The capital prefers hitting your wizards rather than Rams, so bring a couple of high HP tanks such as P.E.K.K.As or Giants to help distract those beams. But you can see how I'm dropping in those Rams. I'm not spamming them in all at once. I'm just dropping them in one at a time to make sure that I have a constant stream of Rams going in, providing distraction as well as generating Larrys, but not too much because you only need one or two of them going in ahead of your wizards at a time to distract all of the defenses for you. I still have 4 left in the bag. You can see on the second hack, we had 5 graveyard spells going in, and it's just way too much for a base to handle. There's just 1 giant cannon left on the backside, and we're using our remaining Rams to help distract that giant cannon indefinitely so it never looks at our wizards funny or our Larrys. So now my wizards are moving into it. This base is super compact, and so my wizard chains do so much damage through this base. This is a really common layout. You can see I'm actually over leveled in that the base doesn't have its final ruins built yet. But this is pretty common in the clan capital these days because a lot of clans are rushed. You can take advantage of this and grab some juicy 2-shots against capital peaks, especially against this base. It's pretty common, very compact, and this strategy absolutely demolishes it. Alright, up next we have the Secret from the Foons, which is a global ranked number 4 clan in the world. And he's coming in with 2 Rams to open up the walls and then a pack of minions to snipe this ruin rock artillery that wasn't moved inside the base. Now, one critique that I have for his attack is that he only has 2 minions left because 4 of them got blasted by the rock artillery, but he could have actually just waited for those minions to finish off the rock artillery and all the giants, because this strategy is super fast. You only need like a minute, so he has all the time in the world to let those minions work through those giants, because that's going to bite him a little bit on the next attack. But he's just going to go in after the rock artillery goes down, starting with a couple of Rams, and then going in with a bunch of wizards. He has a couple of giants for those capital peak beams, but you can see he goes really heavy in on those Rams on the entry, but afterwards he's just going to trickle them in one by one. This is just the main thing that a lot of people are going to do wrong. They're going to panic and try to send in all their Rams at once, but you really don't need that. Just drop them in periodically where you see that your wizards are. He has a pack down south and a pack up north, so he's going to drop in his Rams low and high, just kind of alternate and get a nice spread of his Rams. But you can see the base is super compact as well, a ton of chain value around the capital peak, and so he drops in a rage leading towards it. And he also doesn't get very much on this first attack, only 31%, but I mean, it's Graveyard Rams. Those graveyards build up so much on the second attack. He drops in a Barbarian down low to pull the Giant, and then a Wizard to try to help finish them off, and then goes in with the rest of his troops. A couple of Rams to start distracting, and then some Giants to take the Capital Peak Beams, and then some Wizards in behind, as well as 2 more Graveyard spells on this finishing blow. He brings another Rage on the second attack. I'm not sure I agree with this either. I probably would have just brought another Graveyard spell. That Rage is really good to finish off the Capital Peak, but you can see not many of his troops are going into that second Rage, but hindsight is 2020. He has a ton of troops moving through the backside of the base, and once that Giant Cannon goes down, I mean, there's nothing left that's going to stop his swarm of Larrys. He's going to have so many troops to beat through the rest of this base. His Wizards are everywhere. I don't know what's going on. Honestly, no one knows what's going on when they use this attack, but he has a Larry Barrel, some Rams, and a Barbarian left to finish off that last Inferno Tower and those cannon carts on the backside. Because he's part of a top 4 clan in the world, his clan plays this clan capital super seriously, so he's not going to drop in those last few Rams so he can get as much bonus gold as he can, because once those Rams die, you don't get the bonus gold anymore, even if the Barbarians inside survive, and so he's going to take out this Capital Peak really nicely in 2 attacks with some troops left to spare. Alright, and now we have Patrick from a Reddit clan that is also a top 100 global clan. They jumped about 100 spots from last week, so they're doing something right. They had a couple of raids where they took out entire clans in 15 attacks because they were able to 2-shot Capital Peaks like this. Look at how much chain value is around this Capital Peak. Doing this in this meta is just absolute suicide to this strategy. He's bringing in 3 Graveyard spells on the opening blow. He's going to drop it on the Blast Bow, Rocket Artillery, and Giant Cannon, distract all of those key major splash defenses so that his Wizards and Rams can move in on the opener. He actually goes super light on his Rams, only 12 of them. He brings a P.E.K.K.A. to help distract the Capital Peak, but you can see those 12 Rams are going to be enough to get through all the compartments on the front side. And then after he drops in those Graveyard spells, he's going to go in with the rest of his Rams, his P.E.K.K.A., his Giant, to also continuously tank that Capital Peak, and his Wizards to go in and deal the damage, while his Graveyards distract all of those key defenses on the backside of the base. Those Wizards are going to move in and chain down the Giant Cannon, the Bomb Tower. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. It's so much chaos on the field, but his troops are dying out really fast because the Capital Peak has a ton of damage on it. He didn't even bring a Rage spell on this first attack because he's gonna plan to bring in that Rage spell on his second attack when he's going to actually be able to directly target that Capital Peak and chain everything on this base down. This attacker is going to regret the mistake they've made. After this front side is taken out, there's just one backside Wizard Tower over there, and yeah, that's not going to be enough to stop this attack. Even though he goes really light on Rams, I'm not sure I like that either, but it works out, especially when that P.E.K.K.A. and that Giant distract all those Capital Peak beams. It might even be better, to be honest, than what I've been doing. But you can see once those Wizards lock on to that Capital Peak under Rage, everything is going to die. That Capital Peak goes down so fast once that P.E.K.K.A. also arrives and helps take it down for him. But you can see one Wizard Tower is not going to be enough to keep up with these 5 Graveyard spells, summoning those skeletons after those Rams go down, and he's going to overkill this base so hard. This attack was nuts. He's going to have like 6 Wizards alive. His P.E.K.K.A. is going to survive a Larry army. 1 small bomb popped, and that removed all the shields, but you can see those Larrys with shields are so overpowered because they're able to survive an entire bomb, a trap, anything for 1 attack, and you wouldn't think that it's such a big deal because they're going to get 2-shot anyways, but honestly, those shields make a world of difference for those ground skeletons, and that's what makes this strategy so overpowered. Holy cow, this used to not be possible, but now with this Graveyard spam strategy, these kinds of bases are easy pickings. And one last showcase of how balanced the Graveyard spell is. We're coming in with the Golem Pinata as a first attack against this Builder's Workshop. We're going to send in the Golem up the gut of the base. I see there's not too many point defenses over here and a bunch of splash targeting defenses that it can take down before it goes out. And we'll drop down those skeleton spells on the back side of the base. So once the Golem dies, it's like a pinata. It opens up and a bunch of armored Larrys come out. We have a couple of cannon carts to go up the left side of the base with some giants and some rams to open up some walls and try to clear out this giant open section on the flank of the golem so that they can work alongside each other and grab a bunch of defenses on this first attack. But you can see because the blast bow is exposed, a defender is expecting attackers to come in from here and has trapped this side a lot with a bunch of Mega Hidden Teslas over here, so a lot more damage is coming in on my golem from those traps and those Teslas than I was originally expecting. And so that golem is going down really fast, but it makes a beeline directly towards that blast bow after grabbing a couple of those Teslas and is going to take that out before it eventually goes down. But you can see I make a huge mistake in that I did not drop down my graveyard spells. I forgot and my golem ends up dying before I do. I actually did this attack at like 1 a.m. in the morning on the last day of the raid weekend when there was like 1 hour left or something, so I was stressed and tired. That is like the worst condition to be playing Clash of Clans, and especially the clan capital, because then you'll end up making such stupid mistakes like this in not dropping your graveyard spells down. But you can see my cannon carts were luckily able to survive because we provided all that tanking, and so at least my cannon carts are going to die after I drop down my graveyard spells, and so I'm going to get a few skeletons off of that. But I would have much preferred having my golem die and gotten all of those skeletons at once to overwhelm a bunch of these defenses on the backside. But graveyard spell, I'm telling you, is so dumb that even making giant mistakes with such an easy attack like this doesn't even matter. Even when you're using the worst troop in the world, golem, and you get 36%, graveyard spell is going to carry you to victory. We're not going to try to finish off with a mountain golem finish because that would be an absolute throw and a half. We're going to come in with the wizard rams to finish off this base, starting off dropping down the last 3 graveyard spells wherever. Just don't drop them in the same spots we've dropped our others so that all the skeletons can't get splashed at once. And then we start in with our wizards up the left side of the base, as well as our rams to go in ahead. We even have some giants to go in, so in case those rams go too far ahead and aren't tanking for the wizards anymore, we'll have those giants moving through with our wizards to provide that consistent tanking through the back side of the base. Those giant cannons are going to be so distracted on those Larrys and aren't going to be shooting as my wizards sneak in, finish off that first giant cannon, then that multi-mortar, then that wizard tower, and then finally that last giant cannon, and there will basically be no more splash left on the base. Those other skeleton spells are working through all those point defenses on the backside, and we just have troops everywhere. Some wizards up the gut, some wizards on the left side. They're finishing through all those backside defenses once that giant cannon goes down. There's basically nothing that's going to stop our troops from rumbling on through the backside of the base. But man, holy cow, we did a golem failed pinata on the first attack, and we were still able to recover, and not just recover, smash this base. So there you have it. This attack is still completely broken. In case you were wondering, use it while it's still around. I know I will be for tomorrow's stream at 6 p.m. EST. Also, join our community Discord for Clan Capital down below. It's where I set up all the viewer clans I'll be joining during the streams, as well as other major announcements. But like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and take care.